Hi and good morning to everyone here. My name is Raihana and today I will present my project paper 1 titled Personality Traits Influence Work Engagement Among Remote Employees in Malaysia. Moving on to introduction. So according to a survey by Castrion, 70% of our workforce will be working remote by 2025. However, another survey revealed that remote work can cause psychological strain on employees. Weirdly enough, our employee reported that they feel highly engaged with their organization and also with their work despite working remotely. This shows that we should conduct more research on potential factors that could influence work engagement, particularly in remote work settings. Moving on to the next slide, which is the background of the study. So according to Barrick and Mount, personality traits play an essential role in work engagement because it acts as an employee's personal resources, because specific traits have been found to be associated with employees' perception at work, well-being at work, as well as work performance. According to Alpar, which first person who developed the theory about trait is a fundamental structure of personality that exists in humans' neurological system and is a hereditary factor that could lead to behavioral success. While Cattell said that it is an existing behavior that follows specific patterns and habits throughout time and in different contexts. However, because a new perspective emerged, traits are now conceptualized as constructs that are capable of changing, adapting, and developing. This is supported by Einzek, who said that trait is inherited from a certain lineage and it is a behavior that can be viewed through the lens of environment. It shows that genetic and environmental factors is the one that influence personality trait. Moving on to the next slide. So the best established model to describe personality trait now is called the Big Five model by McRae and Costa. This model distinguishes 5 personality traits such as extroversion, agreeableness, conscientiousness, neuroticism, and also openness to experience. So these 5 traits were encompassed by trait adjective like, for extroversion, someone who is very talkative, someone who is very active, outgoing, and energetic. As for someone who is agreeable, they are very empathic, kind, passionate. Or conscientiousness, they are someone who is very organized with their work. Usually, they're very planful, very thorough, and very efficient. As for neuroticism, they often experience anxiousness, nervous, and they are more into negative emotions. While for openness to experience, it consists of someone who has a wide interest, someone who is very imaginative, someone who isn't afraid to try new things. Moving to the background of study for work engagement, currently there is no consensus on what work engagement is because it is difficult to define because it requires to access complex emotional responses, performance construct, disposition, or some combination of the above. This is why researchers over the years have come up with 3 different ways to describe engagement. The first one is description from the aspect of working environment. Next is behavioral outcomes, and that is psychological presence. So behavioral outcome can include role expansion, proactive behavior, performance, organizational spontaneity, and also organizational citizenship behavior. As for psychological presence, it was defined by Han in 1990, which stated that when employees commit to expressing themselves through cognitive, emotional, and physical means while performing their roles and obligations, they will achieve engagement. However, currently the most used definition of engagement was defined by Shafali and his colleagues, which stated that engagement is a positive, fulfilling, work-related state of mind that is characterized by vigor, dedication, and absorption. So vigor is having high levels of energy and mental resilience while working, as well as they have the willingness to invest effort in one's work. While dedication is a sense of purpose, enthusiasm, inspiration, confidence, and challenge while doing work. As for absorption, people who are highly engaged will pay full attention and be engrossed in their work, causing time to fly, thus making it impossible for them to disengage from their work. Next is the problem statement. So according to Sivanandam, 65% of Malaysians reported to work from home compared to the global average of 52%. This means that most companies in Malaysia are employing both in-office and remote office employees. Therefore, it is necessary for us to investigate work engagement more extensively. Plus, according to Malaysia PR team, employee engagement may vary due to changes in working environment. This shows that work engagement can vary across individuals over time and in different contexts. Next, existing research on personality traits have predicted a lot of outcomes, but they were inconsistent because the sample size that researchers used was too small. Since Malaysia consists of a diverse population, it may not be suitable to be applied on Malaysian samples. The Big Five were derived from mostly American and Western populations, so making it difficult for us to use this as cross-cultural generalization. This was also supported by studies done by Andreasen, who stated that there is a relationship between personality and professional position and outcome variable like work engagement, dedication, and satisfaction. However, because that study was conducted in Norway, it may not be applicable to Asian due to cultural differences in work norms. So this slide is about research question and research objective. Basically, my research question and objective is the same for all 5 traits. As for research question, is there any influence between extroversion trait and work engagement among remote employees in Malaysia, followed by agreeableness trait, conscientiousness, neuroticism, and openness to experience? As for research objective, it is to identify the influence of extroversion trait on work engagement among remote employees in Malaysia. This is followed by agreeableness trait, conscientiousness, neuroticism, and openness to experience. That is about the research hypothesis. There is also 5 research hypotheses for this paper, which is is there is no influence between personality traits and work engagement among remote employees in Malaysia. So the significance of this study is that engaged employees were found to have characteristics like being enthusiastic, involved, and attached to the organization, as well as contribute to attaining goals. It could help employees. This research could help employees to design a more thorough plan to improve their engagement and fulfill their employee needs, job characteristics, and promote a good culture. Next, because remote work has been found to cause long working days spent alone, it can lead to feeling like loneliness and detachment, which can cause a decrease in employee engagement. Therefore, by doing this study, it could help employers in developing personality assessment or recruitment and selection process to help employees deal with their work better when doing remote work. Next, organization is a social system with many personality interacting. So by studying personality trait, it could reflect how people cope with emotional, physical, and mental stress. The last one is to contribute to the body of knowledge about employees' specific strengths. This is because certain people were found to be more inclined to experience engagement, a positive state of mind, than the others. To the definition, so for personality traits, the definition was taken from theories developed by Fist 1989, then built upon by other researchers like Smith in 1967, Goldberg 1981, and McRae and Costa in 1997. So extroversion is someone's tendency to be talkative, ambitious, assertive, while agreeableness more to someone who is sympathetic, helpful, kind, and selfless. Conscientiousness is someone who is very meticulous, organized, professional, and goal-oriented. Neuroticism, someone who is more prone to negative emotions and more susceptible to be influenced by negative environmental influences. As for openness to experience, is someone's tendency to be intellectual, smart, and innovative. For definition of engagement, it was taken from Shefali's studies, which stated that when individuals are engaged, they are in an active and pleasant mind, whereby they are completely engaged and concentrated on work tasks. So he defined work engagement through vigor, dedication, and also absorption. As for definition of remote employees, it is those who have a flexible work schedule that enables them to work from places other than their company's main quarters, work from home, or work online. Next, as for personality trait literature review, besides work engagement, it has been found to correlate with work roles, work environment, job performance, stress level, and coping style. For example, for work roles, those with high neuroticism may find challenging workload as intimidating, while those with low neuroticism will find the same job demands as pleasant challenges. As for work environment, those who are extroverted and has lower neuroticism will self-select in enriched job context because they can adapt faster than those who are introverted. As for job performance, personality traits like extroversion, conscientiousness, agreeableness were proposed to help those with position like managers or those who are in sales. And as for stress level and coping style, people with maladaptive personality like neuroticism were found to experience more stresses in their life because they have trouble regulating their emotions and they often feel frustrated fast. While those with adaptive personalities like extroversion and conscientious trait were less influenced by these stresses. As for coping style, those with neuroticism, maladaptive personalities will experience psychological distress because they utilize maladaptive coping style like avoidant coping. As for literature review for work engagement, Han was among the theory which stated that engaged people will bring all aspects of themselves into the performance of their work role, which includes emotional, cognitive, and physical. This is supported by Christian, which stated that when persons are engaged, they will involve their entire self, their physical energies, their emotional, and also their mental. Cole, on the other hand, find that there is a relationship between engagement and burnout, but Maslach argued that there is no relationship because unlike burnout, people who are engaged view challenging work as something that is good compared to those who are burnout. They will view it as stressful and demanding. While another theory were developed by Shafeli, which characterized engagement as vigor, dedication, and absorption. This was early on. And then the last theory is job demand resources model, which theorized that job and personal resources can influence work engagement. For example, job resources can be feedback, social support, or advancement opportunities. These things can reduce job demands, assist employees in meeting work objectives, as well as stimulate personal learning and development. While personal resources are related to someone's resiliency and ability to control and change their environment. Next, the theoretical framework for personality traits is the Big Five. Those who are high in extroversion feel comfortable expressing themselves in social situation, confident, while those who are introverts will be perceived to be more emotionally reserved. For high conscientiousness, be more concerned about other people's well-being, treat others with respect, while those who is low in agreeableness will exhibit less care for others. And then as for conscientiousness, people who are high in this trait will be very organized, thorough, responsible, and reliable, while those who are low will be disorderly and less driven to accomplish tasks. As for neuroticism, high means they have low self-esteem and emotionally unstable, while people who are low means that they are able to regulate their emotions better and they are less susceptible to negative emotions. As for openness to experience, high means they are very curious, they are sensitive and imaginative. This means that they enjoy thinking and learning, responsive to art. So for work engagement, the theoretical framework again is by Schaffelli, which is characterized by vigor, absorption, and dedication. So this is the conceptual framework whereby personality trait is the individual variable and the dependent variable is work engagement. Personality trait were found in research to influence work engagement with dimension vigor, dedication, and absorption. So the present study uses quantitative methodology and collect primary data. The method that will be used to collect data from the sample is online survey. The target sample will consist of remote employees who meet the study's criterion and also represent the total population of Malaysia. Lastly, an online platform, Google Form, will be used to distribute the survey. The sample of the study will be selected using purposive sampling technique, and then the survey will be given to remote employees aged 18 to 65 and above via online Google Form. Participation in this study is completely voluntary and respondents are encouraged to recruit others to participate. No incentive will be given for participation. So the instrument used to measure personality trait in this study is Big 5 inventory, which consists of 44 items and uses 5-point Likert scale with 1 strongly disagree and 5 strongly agree. Cronbach alpha ranges from 0.79 to 0.87, while for work engagement, it uses U-Track work engagement scale, which is the shortened version of the US 17. It consists of 7-point Likert scale, 0 never, 6 means always. It consists of 9 items with 3 dimensions. For pilot study, the Cronbach alpha was 0.875. This shows that the reliability for both questionnaire is good and it consistently measures what the study is looking for. Finally, the value of personality traits will be predicted using regression analysis based on the value of work engagement among remote employees. To interpret the data for BFI, all negatively keyed items in each dimension will be reversed, and then the BFI scale scores will be created by averaging the following items for each dimension. To interpret data from US scale 9, add the score in each scales and then divide the total by the number of subscale items. And then for the total score, a similar process will be used. Data from both scales will then be computed into SPSS for the analysis and discussion. So that would be all for me for today's presentation. Thank you for listening.